Hey everyone, today we're diving into a wild Champions League night at Anfield that wasn't just about football tech or tactical charts, it felt like a microdrama of ego, nerves, and the unpredictable flow of a knockout tie. Here's how I'm breaking it down, with my take on what actually mattered, what felt like overreaction, and what this tells us about big games, star power, and the psychology of the sport. Right from the kickoff, the energy was off the charts. Victor Osimhen, Galatasaray's talisman, hits the turf with an apparent injury and suddenly the tone shifts. My read, in a one-goal deficit from the first leg, every touch becomes a referendum on time wasting, urgency, and respect for the fixture. What makes this moment interesting is how quickly the match pivots from tactical chess to human chess, players reading each other's bodies, tempers flaring, and a crowd willing a narrative into existence. Personally, I think the reaction from Liverpool's players wasn't just about the rulebook, it was a venting of the pressure they feel when they're at home, chasing a two-legged tie while up against a rival who still believes in their own chances. The clash you saw between Osimhen and Dominik Szoboszlai wasn't an isolated flare, it was signaling something bigger, a clash of cultures within the game. On one side, a player who's used to being the focal point, expected to drag a team across mountains. On the other, a midfielder who sees space, timing, and the geometry of a game as his canvas. When they nearly went toe-to-toe, it wasn't just about who wins the ball, it was about who gets to set the tempo. What's fascinating here is that these moments reveal the thin line between competitive fire and potential fracture in a squad. If you take a step back, you see that this is less about a singular incident and more about the pressure cooker environment of a knockout tie, where every second of delay or contact feels loaded. Osimhen's moment under the knife of treatment and the arm bandage return add a second layer. The body holds an injury, the mind questions the next move, and the bench becomes a chorus of strategic whispers. What many people don't realize is how a moment of physical vulnerability can change the entire narrative of a game. When a star is sidelined, teammates instinctively recalibrate. In this case, Liverpool's plan absorbed that uncertainty. Salah and Szoboszlai pick up the tempo, the wingbacks stretch the width, and you suddenly have a different dynamic to punch through a packed defense. My take, the moment you worry about a player's availability, you're also forced to rethink adjacency, who covers whom, who makes the late run, who can deliver the killer ball under pressure. Szoboszlai's goal, a well-worked set-piece finishing with a clean strike, isn't just a moment of technical execution. It's evidence of a broader approach, Liverpool leveraging set plays and quick transitions to destabilize a team trying to sit on a slender lead. In my opinion, this shows how modern teams cultivate scoring opportunities from dead balls as a force multiplier when fatigue or disruption kicks in. It's not merely luck, it's design and timing, the kind of stuff that separates good teams from great ones in knockout nights. What this really suggests is that Liverpool's system is adaptable. The emphasis on width from fullbacks, paired with compact central play, creates overloaded lanes and misdirections that can crack even stubborn defenses. The game's turning point arrives with Salah's bright cross and Hugo Ekitike's simple finish. This is the moment where belief returns to Anfield's terraces and the whole tie begins to tilt decisively. What makes this moment so compelling is how a single assist can reframe a night. It doesn't erase Osimhen's earlier drama, but it injects momentum and a psychological jolt that cascades through the visitors' ranks. From my perspective, it's a perfect microcosm of Klopp-style football, high-intensity pressure, verticality in the attacking phase, and a relentless search for quick rewards when opponents wobble. Ryan Gravenberch's goal shortly after amplifies the wave. The techie details matter here, the move, the timing, the space opened by Salah's positioning, everything clicked. Ex-Liverpool players and pundits often point to structure and width as the engine of this kind of domination, and this sequence reinforces that view. What I find fascinating is how the goal-scoring pattern compounds, Salah's role in feeding the final ball, the narrow but sharp positioning for Ekitike, and the overloads that the fullbacks provide. This isn't just individual talent, it's a thoughtfully choreographed attacking philosophy that can bend a tie toward home comfort even when the first leg left you behind. By the second half, Liverpool pull away 4-0 on the night and 4-1 on aggregate. The takeaway isn't simply the scoreline, it's how the game illustrates the cumulative power of belief, adaptability, and a willingness to exploit space when the opponent's discipline falters. What this really highlights is the gap between a team's panic moments and its ability to recalibrate under pressure. If you zoom out, you can see a broader trend. In modern knockout football, the psychological dimension often decides the tie before the tactical map is fully unfolded. The player's mood, the crowd's energy, and the bench's timely injections can tilt a game as much as a clever set piece or a counter-press sequence. So where does this leave us for the future of the tie? Here's the through line I'm taking away. One incident, Osimhen's injury and the subsequent flare, became a catalyst for Liverpool's offensive surge, but the real engine was their readiness to adjust shapes, rely on fast wingers swinging width, and optimize set plays under pressure. That combination is exactly what keeps elite teams dangerous late in knockout ties, especially when a single moment can swing the entire course of a game. In my opinion, the deeper lesson is simple: fearlessness in attack, paired with disciplined structure, often beats high-stakes teams that try to ride a singular star or a single moment. Thanks for watching. If you enjoyed this breakdown, drop a comment with your take. Do clean sheets or high-pressing offenses win more in knockout ties? And how do you think Osimhen's injury story changes Galatasaray's approach in upcoming matches? I'll read every comment and bring more nuanced angles in the next video.